Good morning, traders. Welcome to another Bitcoin and cryptocurrency morning update. So, just a quick look at the charts again this morning. As we were expecting yesterday, we did have a nice range-bound day that gave us just some fairly straightforward trades within the range to take yesterday. I'll go over a couple of those trades that we were able to take, and also to have a look higher or lower at where price may be going in the next few days. So we've had a nice move up here overnight. You can see how we had this consolidation, this nice range that was put in yesterday, and I was expecting that to eventually resolve up, and that's what it did. So at the time that I was making yesterday's update, I think we were kind of around here, and we were looking at this consolidation pattern. You can see that from this trend line that did break down, and I think at this stage people started to think, okay, there's not really anyone kind of bidding this higher right now, and you started to see a lot of people expecting the 35, the 34k area, which would have made sense with it being like this golden pocket area down here, lining up quite nicely with some of these lows that we've had previously, and that's what a lot of the market was starting to look for. But when you actually look at where we came into, it was just the point of control of this range and the 382, and for a short squeeze, which is kind of what we have going at the moment, I don't think there's that many shorts down here, but I think a lot of people are just continuously like taking profit on their longs, just afraid that this is going to roll back over at some point. So there's a lot of selling going on, a lot of longs closing out here, and I think price still can push a little higher to really kind of get people bullish again. We've also seen a bit of bullishness up at this high, and this is this daily level that we've had on our chart for quite a while now. So we were expecting this 40,600 area to get hit, and we have had this lower rejection off of that so far. So that's really nice. What we also had, if we extend this over, is just a nice, you have this kind of breakout of this trend line that came down. You back tested that nicely and straight up into the daily there. So at the moment, I'm still thinking I don't see any big moves up or down happening. I think there's a lot of information from the massive move down that we did have. There's a lot of data that now can be traded against. So each one of these levels, you've got obviously this daily level here. Then you've got your previous all-time high, which was from back in January, coming in at $42,000, and then at 43,000 you've got the old range low from the last few months, really. So these are all levels to be aware of. Right now we seem to be holding around the value area high of this range. We'll see if this falls back within it, and then we might be looking down again, possibly at a second test of this weekly level if price cannot kind of get continuation around here. So I can remove that from my chart. It's not really valid anymore. We can move our fibs up and see where these retracements can come in now. So again, let's move everything over, start to get an idea of where things are at. So yeah, you see our value area high of this range here. Let me just, that doesn't look like it's on the full tick setting. There we go. So the value area high of this range, we are holding it at the moment. There's a nice little high volume node right at the top of this as well. If we do fall back within and we come back down, I'd say at this point below 39, then I would expect a test again of this point of control, possibly the 382 again, or we might start to look at deeper retraces at that point. But yeah, again, for now, everything looks fairly easy to trade against. We've got the VWAP coming up, so if this was to drop down on the VWAP, that would give you a nice scalp long that we might be able to get at some point soon. Yeah, so it's all a lot of data to trade off, just small trades at the moment, because at some point, I don't know when that will be, but at some point I do think we come back down and make a deep retrace. Whether that's here, whether that's 42, whether that's 43, or whether we're looking all the way up at towards the 48 and 49k area, I don't know. So I am in a swing long from these lows, and I am scalping throughout the day and day trading throughout the day. So yeah, just different strategies to be aware of. My swing long, I have hit like very, very small take profits, but really I want to keep this for when we do get a deeper retrace at some point, wherever that may be. Okay, just have a look at the TPO. So the other thing I just spotted this morning, we did come into this point of control that we had in the London session just before everything broke down last week. So we do have this session here. And we had that point of control coming in at 40,875, which is basically where our price just came up and touched. So that was a nice little level that you could have traded off of there. You quite often see the London session matching up with the London session, and depending on which session you're in, you do get those nice little moves and reference points back to that, because you can basically say, if all other sessions were removed and we were just looking at London at this point, then this would be a naked point of control up here. So it is something to be aware of. Also, what else we have now is, yeah, we've had this move back down. We've created the daily point of control here. If we are to look further down again, then previous day point of control or value areas would be a target. We do have this small amount of single prints here as well. And then we have the TPO point of control coming in at 39,275 area. So yeah, overall, everything's still looking healthy. You can probably draw at this stage quite a nice trend line coming from here, following this up, and I'd say at this point, if this trend line breaks, this seems to have enough tests against it by now that if this trend does break, you would then be looking at the deeper retraces possibly to occur, or at least to put in a range underneath here and come back below some kind of areas. Okay, yeah, really there's not still not a lot that's changed. These are the same levels that we've had since, well, since this first low was made, really. So again, we can look on the higher time frames. It all gets a bit messy at that point because there's quite a few levels that we can trade off of here, but yeah, you can see one thing that I do quite like the look of as well is we are about to get, possibly within the next few days, if this does continue, this MACD crossover, which again, it's there's not really any divergence here to play off of, but we'll see how this plays out to see if we can get some positive histograms on the MACD, and then we would be looking at potential divergence then, with this having a second move down. Realistically, in order to create divergence, we'd probably have to be going below 34k area again, which is okay. We've got this naked point of control that's down here at 33,600 that I'll just show you in a second. But just as an example, if we are to expect this to cross, create some positive momentum, and then come back below, with this being obviously our midpoint, then we could see price coming back down, and then that gives you the divergence on the daily close in order to bring things higher up, which would be really nice. That would be a nice area to compound longs, and it would certainly get people bearish again down at these lows. So again, just have a look. Here is that daily naked point of control coming at 33,600. I would be surprised if this gets left behind completely. I do think that we probably come down and do more of a kind of solid test of these areas, especially as there's a lot of bullishness coming back into this market when we've not really repaired much of the damage from the last 2 weeks. If you think of how far we came down at this stage, we're not really even at any good fib levels. This is going to get messy. But if we do draw from here, we do have our macro 382 that comes in at the lows of our previous range. We have our 236 that we are through, and then we're coming into this area, this like big pocket of resistance right now. So I do think if I was to kind of have again a bias forming for the next kind of few weeks, I think that a lot of altcoins, and I think Bitcoin has had a nice bounce, but it's not. Yeah, I do think we can form a larger structure here, which we would then end up seeing something along the lines of, say, naked point of control back down here. Maybe we add on, or maybe we start to look at this low at that point. If this is the high, let's just take that for example, then we do have this larger golden pocket coming in around where that naked point of control is. So if things cannot get above this daily and things do start to come back down, we maybe lose the weekly. It would be at this point that I would look for that deep retrace and then for price to move up higher, which would give us quite a nice structure. I know this had this lower low, but on a closing basis, with this being most of the price action up here, you could almost say we would then be creating this like quite complex head and shoulders, inverse head and shoulders pattern that could eventually take price higher up again. So yeah, I think that's kind of the main thing that I'm looking at right now. It would be nice to get this deep retrace, and I think at some point, just to get people bearish again, and just because I don't think this is going to V-shape, there's too much resistance above. This will really be the area to be getting greedy again on long positions, because I can just, you just know, don't you, that if price comes back down here, everyone is going to be calling for like 25k again. Saying that, oh, this is just a dead cat bounce, calling for 25k, but no, I think we would probably be okay if it does come back down. If it doesn't, then again, we just take things level by level. We have this daily, we have the previous all-time high, we have the old range low, and then we have some other daily levels up here. I think the next major resistance would be in this 38 to 39k region. So if we can get above the previous all-time high, I would think that maybe we put in a range here before breaking higher, and we can kind of look at something like this, just gradually reclaiming each level as it comes. Yeah. Nothing else I really want to go over on Bitcoin. Let's have a quick look on Ethereum. So with Ethereum, let's just take a look. This looks like we're probably in a very interesting area right now, and yes, we are. So Ethereum is at pretty important resistance right now. This lines up quite nicely with, yeah, we can go a little bit higher. We could probably add the 786 onto this local one, and that brings us down to these this previous support. We do have this area. Do we have a daily order block? No, we don't. But we do have this nice little 4-hour area over here. We do have these 4-hour OB here, which is quite a large one. We've taken these highs, so market structure has changed, and a deeper retrace on this again would be okay at this point. If we go from our high up here, then yeah, we're within resistance on Ethereum for sure. So definitely, if you are long from down here, or obviously on the US dollar chart, if you are long from down here, this would be a take profit area. I think maybe we could see one more push above, possibly into hitting this anchored VWAP. And yeah, if we're looking at log, then this would be a nice area to be looking at. So I think, yeah, definitely if things get back above $3,000 again, that would get people quite bullish, and it would be at that point where you could look at this coming back down at least to this daily level. Yeah, Ethereum's looking much the same as Bitcoin at resistance, but it could just keep chewing through that supply and pushing on higher. Yeah, you got to remember as well, like, what an opportunity this was. So is there a need for it to come back down? I don't know. I think that big move down plus the weekend kind of massacre shakeout has given enough of the big money enough opportunity to get in at a really nice position on Ethereum. So maybe there's no need for this to come back down. Maybe it can just keep coming through all the supply, keep moving on up, and then we just continue crazy bull market whilst everyone else is too scared to get into positions. Litecoin again. We're back up into these this 4 hour block here. Litecoin, a similar thing. Link, nice reclaim of this weekly level, and again a change of market structure on the higher time frames, but we've come straight into what was previous support, and that could be resistance. So at the moment, if things are going to turn around and we are going to make deeper retraces on these, I think this does seem like a pretty good point for maybe a second move down to occur. You just see on everything, isn't it? It's everything's had this like pattern here that was forming, which is just typical V-shape recovery. So you have your capitulation, you bounce above, you change market structure, and then you make that other high, and then things might start to create like more of a rounded bottom after that. You just see it all the time in markets. But I'd still say overall, market's looking healthy, but literally everything I am looking at is at resistance right now. I drew this line on the chart. I can't even, like, this was way back, like around here. I think this was the first bounce that we had, and I was thinking a range could form around this area, which I still think is quite likely on Cardano. Cool. Yeah, I'm going to leave it at that then. Nothing really more to go over. Everything you look at right now is at quite important resistance, but you just trade it level by level. If so far you could keep saying that, you could have said that about this weekly level. It was at resistance, it claimed it, and we've moved higher. Again, Bitcoin had that same V-shape, change market structure, and then a move higher. So gets people bullish, and then we go rounded bottom or something on of that. But trading it both ways. Swing long, happy to take shorts off of this, and if we do get a deep retrace, then that's a nice compound area. Cool, that will be everything. Thank you for watching, and I'll see everyone as usual in the Discord. Cheers guys, bye.